Welcome to Jay's Speed Shop. On this first episode, I'm going to introduce you to Sylvester, my 1986 Chevy Silverado C10, the Ratty muscle truck. I'm going to tell you what's going on with it, what's going to happen, what's changing, what we're doing for Power Tour this year. Should be pretty exciting. Follow along. So this is my 1986 C10 that I bought. A guy was selling it. He wanted like $3,000 for it, but I talked him down to $1,000, believe it or not. And it was a pretty solid truck, decent truck. It runs really good. Had a ton of leaks, oil leaks and transmission leaks. Axle seals leaked. The brakes were shot, and obviously the wheels and tires were, and the suspension height were a problem for me. So first thing I did was get it into my shop and start working on the suspension after all the the leaks and stuff like that were fixed. So I did drop spindles and a 2-inch lowering spring with that in the front, and then in the back it was just simply a flip kit, and obviously had to do different shocks and that kind of stuff, but that got it sitting much better. But I still had the crappy wheels and tires, so I ordered some 20-inch Riddlers and new tires and got those on right away, and that's what it looked like when it was first lowered. It still had some ugly interior and some other odds and ends and bugs that I was working out, but a buddy of mine calls and he says, "Hey, I found a seat in the junkyard, you need to come get it." So I went and bought this seat and a grill, because it actually had the wrong grill in it, but I bought the correct grill, and I bought the seat out of the junkyard, and proceeded to start working on the interior. Luckily, I found a bunch of other interior parts out of another truck that was there that were in great shape, so all the interior stuff is completely junkyard. I obviously had to paint all of the stuff that's painted, because it was like turd brown, so I painted the roof, and I painted the extra trim pieces that I didn't get out of the other truck. But I spent $100 plus carpet, and I ended up with a pretty solid interior. I can't complain a bit. I threw the little tack in it that I had. It actually came in a box with a truck. It's kind of old school, but I thought it looked kind of cool. Even has a Sylvester air freshener, so that's pretty fitting, I guess. Like I said, the motor ran pretty good. It's an older crate motor, but it runs great. I drove it back and forth to work for a year, and not in the snow, but on a regular basis, and it did great. So this is the picture that was made somewhat famous by QA1 in their Go Drive It campaign. I actually made the QA1 catalog this year with that picture, and there's a little story about Sylvester in their catalog, but obviously I like taking pictures of it. I enjoy driving it. It's awesome. So it's not a show car, not even close. But I do take it to cruise ends, and we do, that kind of stuff as much as possible. So that's the story of Sylvester up to this point. So this is where Sylvester sits now. We're over at my buddy Justin's house. And he's got a good-sized garage. We've got plenty of room to work here. There's something else pretty cool under that cover I'll share with you at some point. But Sylvester's apart, and there's some changes being made, which I already mentioned earlier, in preparation for Power Tour in June. We're doing 4 days. We can't do the long haul, but we're doing 4 days, Tuesday through Friday. Which is Sparta, Kentucky, in Indianapolis, on to Fort Wayne, and then Norwalk. So it's my first Power Tour. I'm pretty excited about it, but I wanted to make sure Sylvester had the right stuff. So I will share with you where it's at right now. Like I said, this is Sylvester's current state. It ran a couple days ago. We're in the process of pulling the motor out. There's some things changing there. So the radiator's out, everything's kind of torn apart at the moment. Should have the motor out today, or, well, depending on how motivated I am today, but gonna do a few upgrades on the motor. It's actually a crate motor, not that old. Those valve covers aren't factory. Those are my buddy Tim's valve covers, but it's a crate motor. Don't know how many miles, but it runs great, and it just needs a better cam and a few other little things. So we're just gonna clean it up in here, get rid of the AC because it didn't work, never used it, and got some new stuff coming. So I'm gonna paint. We still have the turd brown color on the firewall and stuff, so we're gonna clean that stuff up. The suspension's getting lowered again a little further. It's got a like a 4.5, 5.5 on it right now, and it's going to be more like 6 and 8 drop. Let me stand back. You might be able to get an idea of where it sits now. You see, it still sits a little high for me. I'd like to be down closer to the rim, you know, the lip of the fenders, and down about where the rim is. And that's where we should end up. I've got, gonna cut another coil. Front's 2.5-inch drop spindle and a 2-inch drop spring, but I'm gonna cut another coil out of the front. And then the rear is a flip kit, but we're gonna be doing a C-notch and then doing shackles too, lowering shackles along with it, another 2-inch lower. So hopefully that'll be, put it where I want it, and it'll ride nice. I've got, you know, some flow masters to go on. We're relocating the battery because I'm going to end up pulling those inner fender wells out. I've got the trans cooler, a new torque converter, valve covers, air cleaner, new cam, putting a comp cams, thumper cam in it, new wires, brake-in oil. I've got a Z-gate shifter over there. B&M, that was one that I had. I had the exact same one in an old Chevelle that I had, and I just really like it, so we did that. I got the McGahee's C-notch, all my gaskets for the motor. I got some front end parts. I'm gonna redo some of the front end stuff. That's my new 10-inch torque converter. Should stall out around 3,000, 2,800 or 3,000 RPM. Here's the infamous hood. This hood gets a lot of attention. My buddy Todd pinstriped it. That's bird poop. But the hood's kind of cool. I didn't do it, I can't claim it. When I bought it, it was there, but it's nice. I mean, they did a fantastic job. There's a little crack right there in the Bondo, but they did a fantastic job doing this thing. It literally looks like it was born there. You can see the other crack right there. But I mean, this truck is not perfection. I even did a little grill in the back of it. But it's really, really well done for what it is. I mean, you can see how nicely they laid that on there. And honestly, when I first got this, I hated it. I wanted to get rid of it. I was thinking, I want a cow hood. That's silly. I don't need a Trans Am scoop from the 90s or whatever, but it grew on me quick, and now I just can't even imagine the truck without it. So so I dig it, but that's the infamous hood. Genuine junkyard parts. Oh, that's pretty. This is some exhaust wrap. I'm gonna do black header wrap. Should be different, kind of ratty and cool. There's the steering wheel, and you can see the door panels. I think I'm going to repaint the tops. I'm going to do, you know, the interior paint to get them a little more black because they're sun faded and kind of turning gray, kind of a bluish gray, which I don't really like. So I might paint that top portion there, all this top portion of the door panels. But you can see like all the black, you know, stuff I got with it was outstanding. It's got a radio, Bluetooth radio. That's the $19 special from Walmart, and it's actually pretty solid. I don't mind it a bit. I don't need a crazy stereo. It's an old C10. So shot the door jambs because they were brown when I got it, so I shot those black too. All of those looked cruddy. But that's it. That is the current status and the current state of Sylvester, the Ratty muscle truck.